All right, y'all. I'm back. Today, what we're going to be working on is actually multiplying. Oh, sorry. Forget about that. We're going to be dividing, right? We'll be dividing with 10, 100, even 1,000, all right? And I'm going to put a little bit of advanced stuff at the end so you guys can see how things move with decimals. Just kind of get you ready for 5th grade material. Before I get started, I got this other funny joke. Check this out. So, what is the best way to stay warm in any room? Think about it. Think about it. It's to huddle up in the corner. Because in the corner, we know a corner is always 90 degrees. It's always 90 degrees. You get it? It's bad. Okay, all right. I know, it's a bad joke. We're going to get to it, okay? So today, what we're going to do, like I said, is dividing by 10, 100 to 1,000. I wrote down a couple of numbers that I wanted to use in particular. Okay, let's start with this. So some of these are actually numbers on your work. So I'm trying to help you out a little bit. So first one, got 750 divided by 10. Nice and easy. Some of you probably can do this in your head, which is really good. I'm going to show you what's really going on, and then I'm going to show you this simple strategy to get it done. So what's really happening right here? It's kind of similar to when we multiplied by 10. We're just going to divide. So we have the ones place, tens place, hundreds place. Of course, we have a decimal right here. On the other side of that, that's our division sign. On the other side of that is going to be our tenths place, all right? So when we're multiplying by 10, I said multiplying, okay? If we were multiplying by 10, these numbers would actually increase by 10. And we already know that left is larger, okay? So anytime we go to the left, the number is increasing in value. So if I have a 7 here, it would be a 7, 5, 0, and I have to actually add a 0 because all the numbers would move one place value to the left. That's what it looks like when we're multiplying. Division is the opposite of, excuse me, it's the opposite, it's all this chalk, man. Okay, division is the opposite of multiplication. So in that case, everything that we have here, if we divide it by 10, would actually be shifted one place to the right, which would actually decrease its value, okay? So that means our 0 here would actually cross over the decimal, and it would go right over there. The 5 would actually move here. The 7 would move from the hundreds place to the tens place. So we would actually end up with the number 75. Now, you're probably thinking, well, Mr. Johnson, that's cute, but that's a whole lot of work to just divide by 10, right? It is. It is a lot of work. So that's the thinking behind what we're doing, okay? The very simple strategy is this. I got 750 divided by 10. I know, because of how the number 1 works, anything times 1 is that same number. Anything divided by 1 is that same number. So 75 divided by 1 is still going to give me 75. The reason why is because how many equal groups of 1 can I get in 75? Well, 1, if that's the equal group, I count up 75 times, that's what it have to be. So we have 75, and then this is what you do next. Before, what we would do is we would actually add a 0 and then cross it off when we multiply. It's the opposite. So you go to this number here. This says divided by 10. I would actually eliminate that 0, and because of it, I would eliminate this 0 as well. Whatever numbers I'm left over with is going to be my actual quotient. All right, so 750 divided by 10, I cross this 0 out. Do the same thing on the number on the left side of the operation, and that's going to give me the 75. Easy peasy. Let's go to another problem. Show you a couple more, and then we'll make it a little more complicated, okay? So the next one we'll do, we'll go ahead and do the second one here, which we have is 3,600, and we're going to divide this one by 100, okay? So just like with the multiplication, when you multiply times 100, you actually move 2 places to the left. So when you divide by 100, you would move 2 places to the right. Exactly. So in this case here, I would say 36, 1. Put those two together. All right, divide them. 36 is what I'm going to get. But now in this case, I would have to use the same strategy. I get rid of 0 here, 0 there. There's nothing to add because look, these canceled each other out. That's 0 there, that's 0 there. Okay, so I moved 2 places to the left. I eliminated those 2 places. 36, bam, that's the 36 right here. Again, this is the simple way this works. This is going to get more complicated as we move up in grades. And that is something that I'm going to, well, I'm going to give you one more example first, and then I'll give you something that's a little more complicated for those of you who are looking forward to 5th grade, okay? So in this case, let's say we have 350,000, all right? And we actually want to divide that by, we'll divide it by 1,000. I think on your paper I have a question that says by 100. This is going to be a little different because I want to show you, I didn't show you an example of 1,000. 1,000 works the same way. We would say 35 divided by 1 is still going to give us 35, right? Just like that, we're down here. It's still going to give us the 35. Let me start getting rid of these zeros. Oh, the only thing is there's still a 0 left over, okay? That 0 needs to be included down here. Technically, you could have thought about it as, hey, I took 350, and that was what was divided by 1, and these 3 zeros kind of get canceled out. But the best strategy way to do it is to just do this, and you eliminate these 3. And then whatever one you have left, you pop it down there. So that would be that broken down. Now, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you what happens when you start really applying the mathematical concepts. So if you start really applying the first thing I showed you when we shifted things over to the right, this is how you're going to answer those bonus questions. But I want you to get in the habit of looking forward to the 5th grade, okay? So we'll take the number 3,950, and we'll divide that by 100. Okay, what is that going to equal? Let's take a peek at that. Okay, oops, better yet, let's put this over to the right. Put it over there. So what I'll do is I'll first put this into a place value chart. Got my ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and make sure you save some space. We'll actually go ahead and put our decimal there. We'll put our tenths there, okay? So in this case, we want to divide it by 100. Dividing it by 100 suggests that we're moving it to the right by 2 place values. So if I divide it by 10, this 3 in the thousands would move to the hundreds. But since I'm dividing it by 100, it will actually move to the tens place. So I'm going to let it pop over once, but actually I'm going to let it pop over twice. And now this 3 is going to be here. Everything in this number will follow suit. So this 9, instead of being here in the tens, it'll be in the ones, okay? The 5, instead of being in the ones, it'll actually be over in the, instead of actually being in the ones, it would actually be all the way over here in the tenths. And this 0, instead of being in the tenths, it would actually be in the hundreds, but we don't need to write it because it's on the other side of the decimal place. We don't need to write that. I'll put it there just for you. I'll just put it there for you. But it really, you could really not even think about it, right? We don't count. They have no value. If it's a 0 on the right side of the decimal place, there's no number on the other side of that 0, it has no value. So it's like 39 and 5/10, or we could read it 39 and 50 hundredths, right? So this is how that number would be moved. if you notice, using a strategy of just crossing off the zeros, that wouldn't have worked here, okay? This is really what is happening every time, and this is really what you're going to be really checked on and quizzed on once you move into the 5th grade. We really don't do it here in the 4th grade, but this is what we're looking forward to. So if you want, you could do yourselves a favor and always use this when you're multiplying or dividing by powers of 10, hundreds, or thousand. But it's your choice. In 4th grade, you can really just move the zeros. So that's what it would look like here. Again, if you have any questions, I'll attach the question link below this video, and it's of course in your Clever login. Hope you guys are doing well, and that's it for me.